Beautiful souls, witches, and wizards out there. Today, I got a very, very, very fun subject that I know a lot of people want to talk about. Now, this video, um, yes, like I said, everything that I'm do, I'm just channeling. I don't have a script. I don't have any of that. This is a lot of information that I'm about to give out, so please bear with me. I will try to keep it cohesive and I will try to keep it as, you know, I'm going to try to flow and try to keep it as understandable as possible. First off, let me start by saying that yes, oh my god, magic is real and it's coming back. Yes, it's making a comeback. So, how? How am I going to? Let's first start by explaining the history of what magic comes from and how it has integrated into our society. Now, a lot of people think that this comes from movies and fantasy and TV, and it's not real. Well, inspiration comes from somewhere, no? Yes, this is real. And there, my phone just vibrated. I don't know whether I'm just gonna ignore it. Um, yes, magic is real. Um, Ever since the beginning of humanity, we have gone through cycles of it comes and it leaves and it comes and it leaves, and it's just the awareness of us being able to connect at this level of, you know, um, okay, gotta focus back on track. The real history of magic, it has to do a lot with freedom because that is the basis of it. That's why people fear it. No, that's why it's called magical powers. It's because it's powerful and people fear power. If we go back to the 1600s, our sisters that were burned, killed, hanged for their gifts, they were feared because of their power, because of the truth. And there has been a lot of lying through centuries trying to keep this truth from coming out, trying to keep it suppressed. Because if everybody realizes this, oh baby, we in for a good time. But what exactly is magic? And how come some people know about it, some don't, and how come this information has been lost to us throughout centuries? I know that I listen, I'm not working with very good markers today. Okay, I don't have my personal markers. But hopefully you can see this. So I have a picture of a human. I have, this is supposed to be planet Earth. Bear with me. It's a planet Earth, and there's an atom again. And I know I feel like I keep saying that word wrong, but you know what I mean. And there's an atom. Now I put the three of these here because all of these three has everything to do with your connection and your ability to do magic, which in reality is just manipulation of energy because everything is energy, right? And that's what magic is. It's just pure energy. And how do you manipulate it? How do you control it, right? If we go to superheroes and we go to comic books, Jean Grey, just because I love X-Men. Um, Jean Grey has telekinesis. What does telekinesis mean? It means movement of energy with your mind, right? If you can become self realized, you can manipulate energy. Isn't that crazy? And if you want to sit here and be like, oh, well, that's not true. Like, if people could do that, we'd know about it. Yes, Jesus. What a better example than Jesus. Jesus could walk on water. Why? because he could manipulate the energy. He could manipulate the atoms of the water to work in his favor. Jesus could stop the winds. Why? How? Because he could manipulate the energy. That's what miracles are. Miracles and magic are the same thing. It's just that the church is trying to fill us with lies and bullshit and whatever. I digress. But anyway, Jesus proved it. He could heal. How could he heal? It's because he could manipulate the energy that was inside of other people, which is what Reiki is, right? There have been people that have been able to do this throughout history. Gurus in India who have been able to levitate, right? The pentagram, I'm not going to draw it right now because this isn't my good markers, but the pentagram, what's on top of the pentagram is spirit. It's spirit over the elements, spirit over matter. And what is spirit but not energy? It's not separate. None of this is separate. It's all one thing. And that's what Jesus realized. He was able to do everything that he did because he knew this. He proved it. Right? Now, you may ask yourself, well, how? Right? I'm going to try to explain that to you the best way that I can. When it comes to understanding the third dimension, which is the dimension of matter, which is what we are located at right now, you need to understand that this dimension is based in duality, which means everything in this dimension comes in, everything in this dimension is polarized. Now I want you to imagine a battery. A battery has a positive side and a negative side. The positive being electric, the negative being magnetic. I went over this in another video. You might want to go check that out. Electromagnetic energy, which is life, is God, consciousness, everything that is. Spirit, energy, is everything, right? That polarization of the battery, positive and negative, that is the foundation of this third dimensional reality. Everything, and I mean absolutely everything that exists in this dimension is polarized. That's what duality means. That's what is able to generate the spark of life, the electromagnetic energy that can manifest in this dimension, that is God and everything that is. There is no separation. But for it to be able to manifest in this reality, in the third dimension, it needs to be polarized. It's like the electromagnetic energy divides itself into two distinctive poles, right? That's the duality. That is where the separation from the one source consciousness that is God comes from. When that energy manifests itself into the third dimension, it comes in two, always. Positive and negative. When you look at the atom, I need to take a deep breath. I love talking about this subject. I don't want to, have my energy spike up, which I feel it was starting to. When you look at the atom, which again, the atom being the smallest unit of matter, which is what encompasses everything in this creation, in this reality. The proton is the positive and the electron is the negative. When we go to planet Earth, we have a North Pole and we have a South Pole. We know that, right? The earth itself is polarized. When you look at a battery, you know that one side is positive and one side is negative. We know this. Well, guess what? You, my dear, beautiful souls, you also are polarized because you are an atom. Remember, everything is polarized, everything is an atom. And you yourself are also polarized. You, as a human being, have a north pole that sits just a little bit above the head, which would be the crown chakra, and you have a negative pole, which is your genitals, which would be at the base of your spine, the root chakra, I believe. I'm like 95% sure on that one. I might have to double check on that one. But regardless, that detail isn't very necessary right now. Right now, what's necessary is for you to understand that you are also polarized, right? Because this polarization of positive and negative is what allows your spirit to be connected to the 3D dimensional reality of matter, because that's how the energy can manifest itself in the 3D. The energy that is your spirit, which is you, the real you, the you in essence, the self realized you, right? Why does this matter? It's because the people that have been able to do magic in history or miracles like Jesus did, they figured this out. Because you see, even though we are polarized as humans with a north pole and a south pole, a positive and a negative, this polarization within us right now, it's out of balance. When your energy is out of balance, when this polarization is not functional, you become disconnected from the rest of creation. Therefore, you become disconnected from the energy that is spirit, that is everything. So you aren't able to perceive more than just this dimensional reality, which is, as we could see in movies, the sixth sense, right? Like, oh, some people are born with a sixth sense and they can just feel things, right? Those feelings is because some people are born, you know, everybody is born with a different type of disbalance, but I feel like I'm digressing and losing the thread here. So I'm just gonna try to segue into, yes. So what I'm getting right now is to talk about Marie Laveau, Voodoo Queen of New Orleans. Um, she knew this, right? When you balance your your North Pole, and your South Pole, it becomes neutralized. So you also have a neutral or a neutron in your system, and as a human, this would be in your heart. So this would be the neutral, which would mean no charge whatsoever. Now, the neutral in the human being is the consciousness, is the soul, is the spirit. When you balance positive and negative, you reach a middle state of neutrality. And in that middle state of neutrality, that is where you can gain access to everything that is. Because when you balance your own internal energy and you become neutral, everything connects with you. which is what Jesus did. He was able, I mean, I feel like he was the most prominent person in history that was able to control everything around him. All the atoms that were around him, he could manipulate everything because he realized that he was not separate, because everything is energy and you are energy, right? You are not separate from earth. You are not separate from the atom. Me and my Father are one. This is what it gives you access to, right? But first, you need to balance your own energy. And we're going to get into how we do that. And for those that need more specific details, the positive, which sits on top of your head, that is, I'm not going to write it because these markers are just not doing it for me. But the positive that sits on top of your head, that is the masculine energy. And the one that sits below at the base of your spine, that is your feminine energy. So feminine is negative, and positive is masculine. And we can go back to trace this back to ancient China, which they talk about qi and the energy of qi and how to unblock your qi. And they talk about the yin and the yang, right? This is the yin and the yang. This is it. See, there has been different explanations of the same thing throughout history. Different cultures and different people have done their best to explain it to their best of their capacity, to their understanding at that time and place where they were born, and with the type of information that have been provided for them in terms of advancement of humanity. But right now in 2025, almost 2026, we don't need those terms like chi and yang and all of that, because science has advanced us to the point where now we can explain this. This is quantum physics. That's all this is. It's just physics and quantum physics. It's just everything is energy, right? It's the same thing: witchcraft, voodoo, Lambala, Shakti, Shiva, Allah, God, Jesus, like every culture throughout history has named it different things, and I love it. Don't get me wrong, it's beautiful, right? We have been able to express the same information in such a variation of ways. But at the end of the day, there's only one truth, because truth is singular. And the truth is that everything is energy, because you are spirit and spirit is energy, and everything is electromagnetic energy. That's what chi is. That's what the yin and yang was trying to explain to you, and that's what we're here to learn. There are a lot of things in this world that are possible. And I really want to keep doing this, because, and sharing it, of course, because spirit talks to me every day, and I'm grateful for that. This isn't about me. I need to stop talking. So yes, and basically, this is it. You know, you are one with your Father, which means you are one with everything. All you have to do is realize it. Realize that you are not separate. You need to balance your own energy. Once you master your own energy, then you can move on to mastering other types of energies: fire, water, earth, and air. The elements that compose everything, right? That's what the pentagram means. Um, I think I'm gonna leave it there. There's a lot more that I want to talk about, but I just wanted to make this video. And I think I will remake this video like a few years from now, once I get better equipment and I can, add graphics and stuff like that. But right now I'm working with what I got, and I just feel like the most important thing is to be clear in the